What is up, YouTube? I am Eric and you are watching Cruise Line Reviews. And on this channel, we talk about cruises from leaving the port to being on the open sea to everything in between. Excursions, food, all that fun stuff that you are really excited about when you book your cruise. So this video is going to be a first for me, and that is talking about my history with cruises. I know this is a new channel and I wanted you guys to know what I have done and kind of my experience. Now, mostly my cruises are Carnival cruises, but I've been on a Royal Caribbean one as well. But I will let you guys know in this video kind of a brief history of my cruising history and kind of what I thought about each one of those cruises and what I liked and what I didn't like. Before we get into it, make sure you guys subscribe because this is a new channel and I am wanting to do a ton of content for you guys because I know as a first comer back way when I started, the internet wasn't a thing, so it's kind of hard to find out what you needed to do for cruising. So I want to talk about that as well on this channel, so be prepared for that. Now, I have a long list, and if you didn't notice, the title was actually 10 cruises and 20 years. Well, that's not quite true, but it's very close. I will have been on 8 cruises by 2019 since 2000. So that's kind of a lot in my mind, taking other vacations in between. So I will talk, and I have my phone out here because I made a list and I do not want to miss anything. So we will talk about some of my cruises and hopefully show you guys some of the pictures that I have from that. Now, I don't have a ton of them, sadly, but I do have some cool footage that I want to show you guys. Some of it I took, some is just of cruises, so I think you guys will very much enjoy it. Now, I will start off with my first cruise ever. I was only 8 years old. Now, being 8 is kind of a hard thing to go and remember going on a cruise. So I know that it was in November of 2000 and it was on the Carnival Paradise, which is pretty cool actually. Now, it made stops in Cozumel, Grand Cayman, and Jamaica, which you will probably realize towards the end of this video, I've been to these places a lot. Honestly, they're cool places to go. You find some cool things, and I'll talk about that more in a bit, but I was only 8 years old. Now, what do I remember from this cruise? Not much, but what I do remember is a few key things. Now, first off, I remember the waves. Now, when we went, there was a huge storm kind of in our direction. So for 2 full days, the boat was rocking like insanely amount. Like, I've never been on a cruise since then that has been rocking that much. And now I know it's not a huge thing like going through a hurricane or anything like that, but it was something to me as an 8-year-old, hearing about people getting sick on board. There was a ton of people seasick. However, for some reason it didn't affect me and I still had a blast. I remember all the food you can eat. It was so great. As a kid who's 8 years old, being able to eat whatever you want, whenever you want is awesome, but the ice cream is even better. And that's kind of all I have for that cruise. Now, I remember kind of getting off in Jamaica and going there, but honestly, I don't remember Cozumel that much. I don't remember Grand Cayman, but I do remember kind of a little bit about it. But from 2000 to 2008, I did not go on any cruises. So when that second cruise, my second cruise was on the Carnival Conquest in June of 2008. I went to, yet again, Cozumel, Grand Cayman, and Jamaica. And this time, I was like, it's been 8 years. I'm 16 by now. I didn't really know what to pack, and I was like trying to search and search, and I just really didn't find much. And honestly, I feel like on that cruise ship, I actually probably was not prepared. I got sunburnt, which sucks, and honestly, I just remember eating a lot and kind of chilling out on the beaches. We didn't really do that much other than go to the beaches because, well, they were free and you could at least have some fun that way. So that was an okay cruise if I remember correctly. It wasn't my best one, obviously, and I think my next one is actually my best one, but we'll get to it. This one was nice. The Conquest is a pretty cool ship. I've been on it a few other times, so we'll get to that later. But my next cruise, which was my third one, was a year later in June 2009, the Royal Caribbean Radiance of the Seas. Now, where did this one go? It went to Alaska. So my third cruise was absolutely breathtaking. I loved going to Alaska. Like, nowadays, I still have friends that when we talk about Alaska, I talk about wanting to go back because the cruise was so awesome. Being there for only 7 days is kind of weak in my opinion, but it was a cruise, so I understand. We went to 4 ports, they were all fun, and I remember just being on the boat and having mountains all around you and being able to see icebergs and everything like that was absolutely crazy, and I absolutely loved it. That was my first Royal Caribbean cruise and my only Royal Caribbean cruise, but I had a lot of fun. Now, I have always, for some reason, heard people complain about Royal Caribbean food. Honestly, I loved it. There was this place up in the front of the ship or the back of the ship, I can never remember. It was on one of the higher decks, and it had sandwiches. These Cuban and Reuben sandwiches were the best. I would get like 1 or 2 a day. I'm talking very good food. So that is one thing I never understand when people say, Royal Caribbean's food isn't that good. I'm like, I experienced it and I loved it. So that's another story. Then I had a next cruise was 6 months later, and I absolutely loved that one. That was also on the Carnival Conquest to Cozumel, Grand Cayman, and Jamaica. And by this time, I was leading my parents around. I got on the ship and I knew where everything was. It was very awesome. We got to these places and I was like, we were going here, we're going here. Remember when we went to this? Remember, let's go here and here. By the time I had gotten there on my third trip around, I was loving it because I was starting to become a veteran, at least in my eyes, because I like had that red status on Carnival, and I'm like going around and I'm like, yeah, look at me, I've done this before, I've been on this ship before, I know where everything is, which kind of was true because on the ship it was the exact same way, and I remembered everything because it wasn't but like a year beforehand that I was there, so it was fresh on my mind. Then I went in 2012 in March, I went on the Carnival Liberty. Now this was a different cruise, and for some reason we didn't go to Cozumel, Grand Cayman, or Jamaica. I don't know why, but we did go to San Juan, which I absolutely loved, Grand Turks, and St. Thomas. Now the second two, I was like, alright, cool, these are places to go on the beach. But when I went to San Juan, the cool thing that I loved about it is I got to actually walk around the island, kind of explore by myself. I got off the ship and just wandered. Now, I wandered across the island, at least the one that we were on. I don't know if it was actually San Juan itself or Puerto Rico, because I know it's a small island. I don't remember, but I remember walking a far distance to the opposite island that I was on and being able to like go through this kind of forest thicket area and get to the ocean. It was absolutely breathtaking. There's a picture that I will show you guys that was very cool. I'm like standing with my arms above my head. It's a very awesome. I loved that cruise. Then next I hit 2016 came around, and in April I went on the Carnival Dream, and we went somewhere new, which was cool. We went to Cozumel, Honduras, and Belize. And honestly, Cozumel, I'd been there a bunch of times, so I was kind of just chilling. We didn't do too much. We, I think, got on a Jeep tour and kind of drove around. It was fun, but it wasn't anything crazy. We like got in a Jeep and drove to the beach and ate at the beach. Like, it was pretty awesome. But in Honduras and Belize, I really was loving it. Like, these are countries that I had never been to, and I was able to explore them. Sometimes we went snorkeling, sometimes we went just toured and did like top 10s or top 5s, but all of those are very awesome. Then next we went to in 2018, in August, we went on the Carnival Freedom that also went to Cozumel, Honduras, and Belize. And honestly, we went again because my parents had gotten sick on the one before. Now, I will caution you if you are a newcomer to cruises. Make sure you wash your hands. Make sure you use Purell. Every time you see one of those, just slide your hand under it, get some on your hands, and make sure you clean it, because being that close to people, you can get sick. And my parents found this out and they were miserable. My mom was sick for 2 days, and then my dad was sick for 2 days after she was sick for 2 days. So I went with my dad to Honduras the first time, and I went to Belize with my mom the second time, or the first go round, I guess. But then the second time we got to come together and all of us got to explore, and we were absolutely loving it. These places are beautiful, they're fun to visit, and honestly, if you haven't done these to Honduras and Belize, I know they say that some of the places are bad to go to if you go off the beaten path, but I think you can't be afraid of that. Now, yes, things happen no matter where you are in the world. Sometimes they happen more in one place and sometimes they happen less in another, but you need to know it can happen. But just don't be fearful to go to new places, because if you don't, you'll miss out on some very great things, and those places are absolutely gorgeous. Now, that is all the cruises I have gone to. However, I'm going on one more next month, and I am beyond excited. And that's what fueled this channel. Actually, I have been watching YouTube videos for like 3 weeks straight, just cruising and everything. And I realized it's hard to get channels that kind of are all about cruising. There's probably like 10 or 15 that I saw that are all about cruising that I noticed that were doing a lot of content. But then a lot of the other channels were just like one-offs where people travel and they went on a cruise, or there was a family cruise, or someone was trying out vlogging. So I wanted to make this channel because I love cruises. Like, honestly, I would rather go on a cruise than spend 7 days at some hotel and spend way more on a hotel than I would for the cruise. And that's why I love it. Now, where I live is kind of like 8 to 10 hours from 2 ports, so I always drive. We make sure we drive down the day before, we stay in the port town, and then we leave out the next day, and it's always a blast. But I'm very excited that I will be going on the Carnival Glory next month to Cozumel, Grand Cayman, and Jamaica yet again, but it's going to be my honeymoon. So I'm very, very excited. I'm getting married next month, and then we are going on a cruise, and honestly, I'm stoked about it. It's gonna be amazing. I love to travel, and cruises are just a great way to do that. So with that being said, I wanna say there is my brief history of my cruising. Now, I've done a bunch of cruises, but I am not experienced as some of those people who are doing like 40 or 50 and all that craziness. Now, hopefully one day I am able to make it to that, and I will be loving that. But for right now, I've only got 8 under my belt, and I wanted you guys to know about it. If you're watching, I want to know how many you have been on. Comment down below and tell me how many you've been on, cruises that is, and what your favorite place to visit was. So with that being said, I want to say thank you for watching. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell notification. It'll let you know when I post more videos, which I'm hoping to do at least 1 video a week, and when my cruise gets closer and afterwards, I'll be posting much more. So with that being said, one more time, thank you for watching, and make sure you have a good day.